All right, DJs and Not Jukeboxes, episode 4, back at it. As always, we want to thank everybody for tuning in, supporting us all over all the platforms. We got a lot to say, and I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. And let's go around the room. Let's introduce ourselves. Of course, my name is Sen, Mr. Beard Butter himself.
This is DJ Artist, the Fartist.
Hello.
Big ones.
DJ True.
Yeah. And we got a special guest in the house tonight. Why don't you introduce yourself, my man?
My name is Sam Rolfus. VR, mixed media, 3D, experimental kind of former turntablist.
Hey.
Yeah. You know you got a strong intro. That's all love. You know what I'm saying?
So, real quick, though, tell us a little bit about how we know you again.
Well, I was, let's see, I got to Chicago. How did it happen? When I first moved to Chicago in 2010 to go to the art school here, I had been like scratching in my room in Texas for like 3 or 4 years, something like that, and then fell into like the Push Beats crew and was hanging out with them.
Shout out Push Beats.
Oh no, what I did, so I had this QFO. I still have a QFO. I posted a video in my dorm room of me scratching on a QFO, and then who was it? It was
Was it Moppy?
It wasn't Moppy. No. It was damn, I don't know. It was some local DJ. He said, "Oh, have you checked out the Cuts and Cuts crew?" And I think y'all were live streaming that day or something like that. And I was just like commenting all sorts of shit. I was dropping as much knowledge as I could, like to Bengals. I was like talking about just like whatever, and managed to, I don't know, kind of like glad hand my way into hanging out with the Cuts crew and being like the quote unquote intern and getting to scratch every once in a while on a live stream, and then just kind of like, just I don't know, that scene, but all that kind of world became my family for a number of years and still is. So anyway,
It's good to see you again, man. It's good bumping into you. Thank you for coming on board.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the role of the DJ, what it used to be, how it's changed, how it's evolved, how we've gone through it. Big ones, he's got a little tweet that kind of sparked this whole thing. Let's read that off to the people.
So this started a few days ago, and there's a tweet by Fabio, who, if you guys don't know, is a legendary UK jungle and drone bass DJ.
Not the Fabio on your mom's like romance.
Right, not the romance album Fabio.
Not the poster Fabio.
Right. Yes, this is
Shout out to Fabio though.
This is the UK jungle DJ. So he said, I really miss the days as a DJ when you didn't have to be a media king. You didn't care about your billing on a flyer. You didn't have a rider. No one knew what you had for dinner, and no one cared about how many followers you had. All that mattered was making people dance. So this kind of blew up in a lot of scenes, people retweeting and talking about it. So that is kind of the basis for our show today, is like when being a DJ was just that. It was being a DJ, controlling a dance floor, and you didn't have to worry about all the other kind of like extracurricular stuff that you have to now. So
yeah, I want to talk to you guys kind of first about this. You guys were, in the game before Artist was. So I want to kind of talk to you guys and your roles as DJs back then when you guys were first coming in, and how it was just about preparing your music. All you had to do was worry about your talent and your skill set, essentially. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, my first DJ gig in the city was at an actual venue, was at Sub T, the downstairs, with my buddy DJ Verb, and no promotion. I just talked to my friends, because that was the point where you would socialize with your friends and not
let's hang out,
their posts. Like you would call them up.
What?
So
phone calls, phone calls. Jesus.
Yeah. And brought way too many crates to this gig for my 1 hour set. So that's kind of how it started.
So your role essentially was just
to come and spin records for an hour,
which
make
is
people
essentially
dance.
what you did at home. You practiced to do that.
Yeah. I did like house parties, college parties, and that's all about just making people dance. Anyways, have a good time.
Which is essentially our role at the end of the day. I mean, break records and whatnot, but keep a vibe.
Yeah.
Make people dance.
Yeah. Just went up there for an hour, did my thing, made people dance, and it was amazing. And
it was easier.
It was easier. That was it. Yeah, that was the beginning and end of it. Really, was just DJing.
The good old days.
Yeah.
What about you, babe?
Yes, I mean, same. You know, like when I first started getting booked for sets in Chicago, it was the same thing. Like I would guest on other people's nights, and you know, this is you know, pre-Serato, and you know, bring crates to the club, and it was just that. It was like, you know, you get booked to DJ. It doesn't matter, you know. If you brought some people out to the club with you to come see you, that was obviously a plus. But your, like, you know, reputation or like your livelihood as a DJ didn't live and die by how many people you brought out or how many, you know, like, you know, your online following. Because at that point, that wasn't necessarily like a big thing.
Right. Well, I don't know where you DJ, but at Sub T, like, this was Wicker Park way
So
back
people were
in the
going to be
day.
there no matter.
Yeah, the bar was doing its part to actually bring people in and populate.
Right,
and they're
right,
like,
right.
oh, we need to entertain these people. Let's hire a DJ.
Oh, the tables have turned.
Right. Instead of we're dead as fuck. We need DJs here to make us busy. That's how things have shifted.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, now, you know, like, again, this tweet is on point for so many reasons. It's like now you have to promote all your nights. You know, you have to bring people in the door. And then, like, my favorite thing about that tweet is, like, nobody cares what you ate for dinner. Because, like, now it's like, you know, it's this whole process. You know, there's some DJs that are really good at it and have massive followings, not because of that, but, you know, they document, like, on Snapchat or Instagram stories or whatever, like, this is what I'm having for dinner before the club. This is my trip in the limo to the club. This is me DJing, multiple shots of me DJing at the club. This is me leaving the club and going back to the hotel and going to sleep or whatever, you know? Like, for me, still to this day, like, when I show up to a club, I mean, they're going to be lucky if I take a picture of the crowd, like, before I start playing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so, like, that thought just doesn't occur to me at all. Like, I go there to go DJ, to go do my job.
Yeah, your head's in a different place. Like,
Yeah, like,
you're getting your game face on to perform. not to,
exactly.
yeah.
I just don't, that my brain doesn't even work like that. And always, and then I'm like, crap, I should have taken a couple videos or whatever. But again, man.
For grand, though.
Yeah, right. You got to do it for the
It
ground.
didn't happen if it wasn't on the ground.
But also,
you know?
like, even that, it's like some, you know, now there's some clubs or whatever that they'll have like promoters or club people that will come up and take videos for the club. And like, that's awesome. Like, do that. Let, you know, the DJ do their job and not have to worry about that stuff. Because for me, my head is never in that space. And as much as I try to like think about it, I don't think it's ever going to be.
Yeah, you made a good point. How the DJ's reputation was based on just that, and that's a big thing now, I think. And you know, and it's unfortunate now because now, you know, I came into an era where, you know, it was like CDJs already in the mix of things. So promoters were doing stuff heavily. It was still about the DJ slightly. I was on the like end of that, but social media was becoming a very big part of it. You know, how many followers do you have? You know, what's your MySpace look like? You know, how many mixes do you have? Because it was MySpace at the time. And I was getting booked solely off of 2 like 10-minute mixes that I put up as my audio, and you know, like who my top 8 was. You know, like you finesse your top 8. Yeah. Oh, he knows that person or her. Okay, cool, word. Let me, you know, and that's what it was. You know, so it was crazy that I kind of started doing that without understanding that it would take the role that it did later on. And I hate social media.
You just made me miss MySpace right
Yo,
now.
I'm saying, dog, like, MySpace was popping though. Let's not, you know, shout out to Tom, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tom, everybody's first friend. And I'm just saying, like, you know, you could really finesse what it looked like, you know, and I think, you know, now, you know, we talked about it multiple times, like social media is the highlight of everybody's life. So that's where you're, you know, like the promoters or venues, you know, whatever it is, like where was that change? When did that happen almost? Like, when did it go from, you know, the Wicker Parks and everything being, all right, cool, like our bar is going to have people because we're the ones bringing in the people. And all we got to do is worry about having good entertainment versus like, well, let's just get some type of entertainment in here that will bring us a good crowd. Right. And then you totally lack on quality and you get, you know, your whoever's, I don't even want to like put names out there, but there's a lot of them out there whose marketing games are hella strong, like Diddy strong, but your DJ game is just like baby shit. Straight up. And I got no problem telling you that to your face.
Well, that's that too.
You could outmarket the shit out of me. You could have your 10,000 followers. I'll take that shit all day. I will give you your props for that. But let's go play, and that's a different story.
Yeah.
There's some guys though that can do it both, man.
Yeah,
there's
no,
a lot of
there's
DJs
definitely
that have that crazy following that are actually really dope DJs, and I mean,
and there's guys
they
and there's
get, they
people
get the props for that.
There's people that are naturally good at that whole like documentation side of it, because you know
Right.
that was happening prior to social media. Regardless, I mean, cameras were around. People were doing little mini docs. If you went on a tour or something, you went out of state, you want to document it. I mean,
Well, I think
it's
it's
like
the
going on
difference
vacation
between
essentially.
what like wanting to do that and having to do it.
Right,
I think
right.
now it's a must.
Right.
Yeah, that's something different.
And as a creative, like when you're told what to do, you don't want to. You know, we all know. It's just like fuck no, bye. You know, so
It is almost like a necessity now, though. That's kind of the crazy part. It evolved into like instead of you're just the DJ. Now you're the brand that is the DJ, basically. So you have to like
you're the team behind.
You're the team. You're the one man team, basically, holding yourself down and promoting yourself, and designing your own flyers, putting it out there, dancing on Instagram stories, whatever, in front of the crowd. And just building your whole like persona. It's like that's also part of it. It's like having that brand is your persona too. So.
Oh, absolutely.
And
that sounds familiar with friends I've had who are producers who end up getting signed. A lot of them have lamented that we don't labels don't build up the brand anymore. You have to start out with however many thousands of SoundCloud followers, and then you have to show that you can build your brand, and you have kind of a marketing team where you have this kind of focus, and then they'll pick you up. But from what I hear, far less people are being signed just out of nowhere, off of just skill. Like they want the labels don't have the funds or the money. I know from directing music videos, they sort of shit don't have money for investing in music videos or anything else. They don't have any money to invest in.
Get your budget up.
Right, they can't. So they expect everybody to come to them with that, and it sounds like it's a similar thing. It sounds like to say clubs, who many of them are expecting you to do all the grunt work because. I don't know. It sounds like maybe they're kind of getting wise and they understand that they need to have their own kind of following to help support. But it's interesting that the onus is on us as creators to have that. And I mean, that's part of this whole movement of like everyone is their own self brand, whether you're a creator or not. Like you're a lifestyle person or what. It's like this kind of mania that seems like general society has when it comes to like your existence online is. Well, it's just like people have their Finsta, that's like their personal thing, but they're like in Instagram, even if they're just like an accountant or some shit, like that's all kind of curated.
Yep.
And so that extends to the rest of us. And similar to this all it sounds a lot similar. I mean, not to get too in the weeds with like art stuff, but there's this movement called like post-internet art, and it's kind of a stupid term and a bit of a misnomer, but like all this. So it's basically the idea is that say you go to a gallery show a lot of times these days, especially kind of the more kind of trendy ones that aren't like paintings, these kind of collages of different kind of tech objects and shit. If you actually go to them in person, they look like garbage. But the photos of them online are gorgeous. Like and you see them like so the general idea is that like the thing you're experiencing is not the thing in the gallery. The gallery, the actual IRL performance or kind of like element of it. Real kind of thing is not the actual final piece. It's exponentially more people are going to be looking at this thing over Instagram or some photos or whatever, and so they take these just like gorgeous photos and people kind of just lust after them. But if you're actually there in person, it's like shit, which seems very often to be the case with like and kind of like a DJ performance setup where like if it looks good, like the lifestyle, if you see their Snapchat, it seems exciting and this and that, like they don't really care about. Like, was it ever really about the music? That's debatable. Maybe it's just about the vibe, and it's just like how people are plugging into things. So I don't know if there's.
That's a good point you mentioned, man. Like that's like your whole like all your followership, if you will. That's become the vetting process for like a lot of like booking agents or just venues.
Oh right, yeah. They want to.
They don't care about what you do.
Right.
It's just like what you bring, basically. Yep. Who's looking at you, basically.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Like, like we talked about the Vegas template here as far as like, venues and everything like that. And it sucks because Chicago has such a big identity for like we have our own identity out here amongst all of us, amongst, anybody that's outside of the DJs that we know, like.
Well, just as a musical city.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like our roots here, exactly. Like what we've birthed, like
who's protecting that? That's when I talked with King Hippo
Exactly.
last weekend. That's the biggest thing he was saying. It's like the cultural history here is so deep, but who's watching over it? Who's making sure that it's being protected and given a life moving forward? You know, and he used Paris as an example. You know, has been a cultural center for centuries. You know, Chicago's been a cultural center for, say, maybe a century.
Yeah.
But, and you know, I think this can be applied to the whole country too, but who's protecting the culture that we're putting so much into?
Yeah.
It seems, you know.
And that's being used so much to carry us. Like,
because I don't think the businesses are protecting it.
No,
they're trying to make money.
Right.
I mean, whatever is going to make them money, whether it's culture or a shitty DJ, that's what they're going to go for.
Look at the sneaker game. You know what I mean? Like, look what happened there. Like, you know, like just, you know, we're talking about who's protecting us. Like, that's what it is. There isn't anybody really out there. The companies are looking for the number, the dollar, and that's it. And it translates that way because it's that whole, like, are you chasing the dollar to become happy, or are you chasing happiness to get the dollar? You know, so like, as creatives, and you know, we know it's expensive to live out here too. You come across those debates, and then, you know, you get the newer generations that don't come from anybody that taught them how we know, and then they, okay, well, my Instagram's got to pop. You know, my Snapchat has to have this many followers. Like, I have to have this many reactions, and then you see the disconnect because you'll see, you know, a kid with 20,000 followers, but then like 20 likes on a picture, and you're like, okay,
right? Yeah, I mean, that's
obviously that was bought. You know, like those are purchased, and that's what's crazy too, because it's like you can now buy your way in. Yeah. Essentially, like it's a poker game. I could just fucking walk up to the table and be like, "Look, I just bought my 100,000 followers. There it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm all in. You know, book me to open for ... And that person will get booked, and they're like, "Okay, we need you to, you know, bring, you know, 25 or 50 people, and then like, I mean, shit. Let's talk about pay to play." I mean, like, that's another concept that still blows my mind. Like, I've seen it. I've seen it in hip hop shows. Like, you know, let's get 30 rappers to do one song a piece, but everybody's got to pay, you know, $50 to be on the bill because it's potentially.
It's just lazy promotion to me.
But that's crazy though, because they go for it. Like, that's what
people are hungry to get that spot.
Is it hunger or is it thirst? You know, it's like I said. I mean, that's the difference.
They're just malnourished in general.
Yeah, hello. Get that water. Shout out to Ugly God. But no, it's a crazy point. Like the shifts. Okay, so we're all kind of. How did you? I mean, when you came into it?
Man, I think I was like on the very cusp of like the transition. Like I think I only played like 2 shows where I didn't have to promote. Then everything else after that, I had to like fend for myself. Like, yeah, coming from the MySpace days, I got booked at a lot of like. This is random as fuck, y'all. Like, I hung out with a bunch of scene kids back in the day, so like I got booked at like hardcore shows to DJ at hardcore shows because of MySpace, and that's also because I promoted myself and helped sell tickets. So talking about pay to play, that's basically what it was. Like, I was kind of like grinding like my senior year of high school, basically, just to like quote unquote break in. So it's funny, but like now, like kind of like. Being in this industry now as a graphic designer and kind of like working within the music realm, like it's just funny to see how that became like it's kind of like a necessary cancer in a way, like in this day and age now, because you don't want to do it, but you got to do it in order to like thrive. Otherwise, because I mean, as unfortunate as it is, like, you know, people base your careers off your followers and your likes, like. That's kind of necessary evil. It's like
people base each other on their social media.
That's it.
We can take it to that realm too. I mean, you know, people. You know, I've had people talk to me after a gig and they've met me and they're like, "Wow, man, like you speak how you do online." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm the one typing the caption." They're like, "But no, like you're actually that person." And I'm just like,
they're shocked.
Yeah, and I'm like shocked too, because I'm like, well, damn, what the fuck do you run across, man? Like,
my favorite is like when they come up to you and they're like, they pronounce your whole shit wrong. Yo, RTST, what's going on, man? I don't even know you.
You know, really quick though, going back to you talking about being, I mean, you're a graphic designer by trade. That's another thing now where, you know, back to that original tweet that like you have to be your own promoter, and a lot of times you're making your own flyers. So I'm seeing, you know, in the last few years, more DJs or artists or whatever that now have to dabble in making their own videos or making their own graphic design or video editing or whatever, because that's a whole necessary thing.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Have the funds for it all the time.
Well, right. That's so like for me, I have no, I don't know how to do any of that. Like edit video, do graphic design, make a fucking flyer. I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
So if you don't have even the most rudimentary knowledge of those programs like I do, or like I don't, if you're in a situation where you have to promote your own events, you're paying somebody else out to do that work for you.
Definitely.
And when I was coming up, I can't even tell you the amount of times that I had to pay, not necessarily for flyers, but other, mixtape covers or just web design stuff, like how much money that I've paid out to other people throughout my career because I have to do that, because I don't have any of that training where it necessarily
in
didn't
some
used to be
ways,
like that.
like it kind of like, and this is kind of indirect, but it also kind of fucks with like the designers industry too. Like a lot of like self DJs, like they design their flyers and about like 90% of the time like shit. Like
I was
my
just
God,
gonna
yeah.
say that. Like
I got impact fonts, some stretch photos, whatever, and then
a couple apps.
Yeah,
to,
I got a night.
layer it.
Damn.
Yeah, no.
And the worst part is when they those nights do fucking well too off of that shit ass flyer. Like, yo,
talk that shit.
I've definitely made some MS Paint flyers
that
as a
shit.
joke in the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we gotta send it.
And it's just that I mean, I actually, I mean, for me, working kind of both media is similar. It was always that's what I enjoyed about it, was being able to kind of like construct. You want to construct kind of a concise vision for this whole thing, but it also takes a ton of work and etc. But the downside of like, I love the idea of musicians trying these other mediums and throwing and with the advent of like memes and shit posting and like bad images, but if they're funny it still works. Like there's ways to do it if you're kind of hustling and you kind of like find a clever angle, as long as your voice comes through. But the downside of musicians getting a bit of control on that is like sometimes I'll just deal with these motherfuckers who just think like they know my job so well, and they'll like dictate all these design decisions that are just like the absolute worst, and they'll end up with just like this body count of designers who just like hate them, or you'll have like you have like a community counseling of just designers just shit talking like whatever producer or like whomever who just thinks that there's some genius designer or something like that.
Right.
Downloaded Photoshop back in like 2008, made a couple like.
Yo, I got that ill brush that makes the fog look real and shit.
God.
It's dope that we have you on today, because we get to have the another graphic designer and just a different type of artist perspective, because it is very much like the DJing side of it, where you could go on YouTube, you could get a cereal box DJ and all in one kit and learn how to hook it up, and now all of a sudden you're a DJ.
Right.
So I could totally feel that, and it resonates with me, and that's a big thing too. Like you mentioned it, like they get an app and it's like, all right, cool, I could do this too, shit. And that's like the shit we deal with as DJs. Like, I could get it on my phone, so you won't have it.
You remember
your library's whack.
Sorry, do you remember the DJ in the box back in the day? They used to sell like Guitar Center and shit from Newmark. That's basically they should sell that at Guitar Center, like branding in a box, basically. Like, yo, this is what you need to be a DJ. You don't need 2 turntables and a mixer. You need 2 turntables, a mixer, and
Photoshop,
a Creative Cloud subscription, basically, and then keep them moving.
Instagram account,
and
Photoshop and iMovie or something.
Exactly,
It's like there's a torrent of Photoshop and then like
Yo, torrent though.
Shout out to torrents, man.
Bootleg,
None of these people are buying Photoshop.
And a cracked version of Fruity Loops.
There you go, yeah. Bootleg,
There it is.
They got record box, and that's like, so they got like a stick, and like that's all they need. Like take it around, they can make their flyer 5 minutes before the fucking show.
Right.
Exactly.
Load it on with record box.
Don't get me wrong, I've definitely made a flyer 5 minutes before the show and promoted it.
That's you do you, whatever works.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be a Puritan about like for so long, because and I feel like coming from like my sensibilities about what quality is are very in line with what I coming up in a turntablist and other kind of skill-based world where it's like it's technique, and it's very easy to get sucked into the technique and not necessarily what that technique does for people, which I think is the downside for this like create like weird experimental 3D shit that I do, because I 3D sculpt all this stuff myself. Most of these 3D artists just download stuff from the internet, just kind of stick together and look like shit. It's very easy to be, for me especially, to be snobbish about this, but I don't want to say that like DJ shouldn't be handling this, or like doing something shitty with a torrented Photoshop thing or whatever is a bad thing. Like people should do it however they can, as long as that voice is unique. And a lot of times, my thing right now is like, how do I be funny and how do I be compelling with my stories and stuff using all this, like, I have too much technique and it's like getting in the way of me being compelling with what I'm doing. There's motherfuckers who just like have like a meme app who are like having more of a direct conversation with their followers than I am. So like, how do I talk to people in this kind of pared down way with somebody who has a hundredth of my training? So anyway, just on the flip side of that, I don't want to be overly kind of skill. I don't know. It is at the end of the day, are you making the dance? Are you making them feel something? It's very easy to get caught up in just like, well, they don't know how to do anything right. It's like, well, if they're talking to like the audience and they're feeling something, then they're doing it right. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of a really good point, because like, as much as we judge them, like they got something going basically. Yeah. They got the ball rolling quicker than you did, and there's a certain genius to that in a weird way. But yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I would be mad.
You made a good point. Like, you made a good point. How do you translate quality and substance? Like, how do you translate that to somebody who doesn't know what that quality and substance should be in that realm?
No, right.
You know, that's what we talk about all the time: the consumer versus the artist. Like, and understanding the consumer side. Like, we get it. So we have to take all the techniques that we have and for lack of better terms, slim them down, dumb them down, and just say, here, like, let me feed you. It's like that concept. If I'm going to feed you some other type of animal, I'm going to give it to you in a burger format or a taco format, something that you eat all the time, and then tell you what it is after you're like, oh, this is the shit. So, you know, and it's like, you have to do that. You have to kind of sneak in there, and you know, you have to see what the super dumbed down memes and what it is about them that people are catching, and then that's how you know, being a technical person, and you're just like, okay, how do I make that my own? Where's my disconnect there? And that's what we're doing, and I think this podcast helps that with us a lot, you know, with identifying, you know, because people have been listening to it and they're just like, oh shit, you guys are like really speaking real shit, not just being angry, not just this, not just that, but like, you guys are really, really on both sides of the ball. And I think it's dope that we can do that, because, you know, there aren't a lot of people out there. Like, all the people that we're talking about that jump into it really, really quick aren't those people. They don't understand the slow roast. Like, you could flash fry something, it's great, it's delicious, but like, you're gonna feel that shit the next day. Like, a slow roast is much nicer, man. A slow roast is like, cool, give me that 8-hour pot roast. Like, I'm gonna enjoy the shit out of that way more. You know what I mean?
Sounds like Sen's just hungry.
Starving, bro. Shout out to Sundays, man.
That's a fair point. But I mean, my whole thing with all the skill shit that I'm doing is that, like, okay, well, I think that this will at least have more longevity. Like, I've got all this stuff that I'm building, because so often, what I'm kind of trying to fix right now with myself is, I'm doing the, like, visual artist, like, 3D equivalent of doing, like, backflip body tricks, spinning records up in the air, like, but where just stuff that's like very skill intensive, but like, and then the audience is just kind of like staring at it.
Yeah.
What just happened?
What is this? Like, it's crazy, it's weird, but like, what? It's my trick to like figure out, okay, how do I have some references or something, like you're saying, like stepping stones to get, so they understand 1% of it or 10% of it, then they can learn from there.
Right.
But at least, and maybe it's just me deluding myself so I feel better, but my thing is like, at least, okay, with all the skill stuff, it's something that'll last 10 years down the line. It's not so fad-based that then all this other stuff gets really quick play. Like,
and then it disappears.
Play, and then, you might get 1 million hits or whatever, but then nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know,
it's got to translate. Yeah. No, that's a good point. You guys just missed solely DJing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think it'll take to get back to that point? I highly doubt personally.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
No, at this point, that it's changed already. Like, the whole spectrum has changed. You know what I mean? I think at this point we are what we are, and we understand it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in, you know, a couple of years from now, or you know, if it's already getting this, you know, again, where DJs have to do so many other things. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in a couple of years from now.
Right. The next social media, basically.
Yeah, what is the next social media platform?
Yeah, it's gonna like take off.
You know, it's been slimmed down to just a picture. You know what I mean? So It used to be posts and all kinds of wordy.
Well, maybe it'll be like you can tap into somebody's brain and you can see what they see.
Shout out to Black Mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're familiar with the show.
If that's the case, then I'm all for it because they'll be like, oh, this dude's actually DJing somewhere, like doing some cool shit, as opposed to like me having to think about posting it. They can just tap right into my brain and see what I'm seeing.
On some Black Mirror shit, I want to like look at somebody and just like think about it, and they can hear in my head, yo,
or that,
yo, house music all night long. Yeah, yo, house music all night long. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if it will change. I mean, it's just speaking from a Chicago point of view, like it's become so ingrained in the business, just running the entertainment industry business for just that whole general area of industry, where promoters and DJs are responsible for driving the lion's share of business to any given venue on any given night.
Right.
So I don't know. That's when I said earlier about like lazy promoters. I feel like there's lazy businesses too, and especially Chicago, we have just a saturation of venues now. There's just not enough people to go around. I really don't know that many promoters that are doing it like they used to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me being disconnected, but
that's like a super downtown club thing, and it doesn't really exist outside of that. You know what I mean? Like promoters that will like bring a bunch of people to one or two clubs a night. That still exists a little bit, but it's such a small subset of the amount of clubs and.
Oh yeah, or just even
Chicago,
people that like promote a night at East Room or Whistler or something like that. Like people that are bringing the whole experience to the venue.
Right. Yeah.
And the venue just kicks back and.
That's what I'm saying. It's a very small thing. I mean, it's not like even close to what it used to be.
Well, I wouldn't be as salty if the businesses just admitted what they were doing.
Let me sip my coffee real quick on that one. Let me get comfortable here. Talk that talk, please.
I've got a little chip on my shoulder right now.
Please talk. This is what it's for.
No, it's something I've thought about since I started to have to promote and not just be a DJ. But it's typically like, you get 10%, but you're doing 90% of the work to get people in. So there's an imbalance there. So I think the model can work, but it's just too much in the favor of venues. Yeah, granted, they have all the risk. They own the spot. They have to pay their mortgage or whatever. But I don't know. The balance has to work itself out some way, and I just don't know if that's going to happen. That's what I don't see changing, because the businessmen are always going to try to get their dollars whatever way they can.
And their taxes every year go up. The property taxes go up.
Yeah, and just
liquor
even
taxes go up out
giving
here.
more money away to the person that's helping you run your business doesn't make sense for whatever reason.
Right. Yep.
But what happens when all that goes away? Then you're left there with an empty venue, nobody in it, and you didn't do anything to build your own marketing promotion machine as a venue to make sure that you don't have to lean on outsiders to make it work.
Or just the performers, for that matter.
Are you talking about unionizing DJs?
I've talked about that for a long ass time.
Yeah, that's been
some conversations about that.
It's been a conversation just in the Chicago DJ community
for a while.
It's tough. It's tough. I think it's a great idea, but who's going to head it? And when you really dig into what that means to unionize, it's a big endeavor.
Yeah,
it's bold. It's massive. You literally got to have like every DJ
on board.
On board. Yeah.
Otherwise, and that's where it's always falling apart, because there's always some new guy that comes in. The scabs, they're crossing the picket line.
I was thinking for,
they're going to take that $50 gig because they're hungry or thirsty or whatever, while the guys that deserve $250, $350 a night, they can hold the line, but someone else is always going to cross it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea. I would love it to happen, but
shout out to the Chicago DJ meetup that just happened this week too. We were all up there.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really, really dope. Shout out to Dante. Shout out to Metro. He was there. He introduced the new series that he's doing. Phenom was there.
Scratch bars.
Yep.
We're going to be guesting on that at some point, or you guys are?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Cool. But you better get me, Metro.
I am. I got the call. I got the call.
You got it.
No,
too.
that was
You're
good
in there.
because
I'm just busting his balls.
I've been to a few
Shout
of
out to
those,
Metro.
and the vibe in there this past Monday was like nothing I'd ever seen before.
It's different, right? Like it just felt different.
It was different. When I first started going, there's a lot of downtown guys, and that's as far as it went. So this one, it seemed like there was,
There's more of a
this is
Dude,
a
there were
larger
like
DJ
Scratch
network.
Academy people there, and like
Yeah,
it was just
there
like,
was guys that are just coming up. And
yeah, people that just moved here trying to figure it out. Like it was dope that it got that kind of reach, and like that kind of like that want to come out, and just and everybody was cool. Like everybody was making conversation, and if you didn't know somebody right away, it was like, yo, this is so and so, and
that might have been the most insightful meetup I've ever been to. Actually,
Yeah.
like there was a lot of like good insight for like a lot of the DJs who are just trying to break in, and yeah, I mean.
well, it's at that point, I
Yeah.
think, where all of us, kind of get what it is right now.
Yeah.
And everybody, whether it's calling it being fed up or just however you want to word it, it's just at that point where it's like, okay, like maybe we do all need to look at each other and
I don't
figure
think
this
it's
out.
I don't think it's being fed up. It's just like it's everybody's gonna excel and have their careers be in a better place if we all
Yes.
work together.
Yeah,
It's about it's all like I think the biggest thing I've been like, especially like in recent years for me personally, like paying it forward is such a huge thing to me. Like that'll come back around. Like Hubert said in an interview recently, like karma's like people should teach people karma because it'll eventually come back around for you, more or less, in a good or a bad way. So I've been taking that to heart and seeing that meetup alone, like. It was cool, like telling people about, like we're doing this, and this, and you can do this and this and this to, be where we're at, and just move.
Putting people on game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Once again, shout out to Dante. He's been doing these meetups for a couple years, but I mean they've been somewhat irregular. So this last one was the first one in a while, and how many people?
It was a great
were there?
response
Like,
in
there
there.
was like
It was at least 100.
at least 100.
Yeah,
I
it was a great
gonna say,
response in
more than
there.
that.
And it was dope, like you said, like just a lot of new faces, a lot
And
of
a lot
old
of heavy
faces.
hitters over in there
A lot
too,
of
man,
a lot of people were there.
Yeah, but the I don't know, the playing field seemed even regardless of who you were there.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm
should-
saying. Nobody was walking with their head up. You know what I mean? Like everybody, no matter who you were, no matter what kind of level of popularity you have or pull, like everybody was just like, oh, word, because they see you talking to somebody that they know, or you're just there.
Yeah.
And it was not about a click thing anymore.
And you have to like, introduce like, oh, hey, this is this guy, this is this guy, he's in a scene, you're in a different scene, y'all should like talk.
Right. Like shout out to Strategy, man. Like, he's got his whole send nudes campaign, but it's like he could cut. That boy's a DJ.
Oh, he's an amazing
and that's what's dope. Like I love it because like he found his niche, his gimmick, whatever you want to call it. But like he can still cut. Like he's still a DJ and he comes from that. So he's one of these people that we talked about early in the episode right now about
he's doing
they just
it
get
all.
it
Yeah.
and they're good at
He
it.
can do it
And
all.
he can do it all.
That's-
Absolutely.
That's the
Absolutely.
one dude. Like, I mean, it's funny because like I kind of broke out in the scene with him like around the same time, and
Because he was doing hip hop shows.
yeah, he was doing hip hop shows, and yeah, like that's one dude. Like speaking of like having like a voice in social media and like branding yourself, like he has it down to a science. He
figured it out.
Yeah. I mean,
He's created it.
Yeah.
I think he's created his own formula almost. I feel
Yeah.
like it's he found that next equation. The next layer of it.
I mean, say what you want about set nudes, but he's got down to a thing. So
Fucking
But people go. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
but that's what's dope. Now he's got that following. He can play the game now, and it's like how many followers you have. Oh, you're the send nudes guy. We're gonna book you off that, but you're a fucking dope DJ too.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna bring the whole package, and that's if you're gonna go that route. If you're gonna be that popular, bring it, man. And you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Shout out Strategy. He actually does. So, and his story was cool on it, like how it all came up. It was just something. He bought a hat and got it stitched on while he was out of town, and
It's
like
simple
all
as
his
that, yeah.
all his
Talk
people
about-
were like, "Yo, how do I get that send nudes hat?" And he's like, "Oh shit, okay, I'm gonna make this hat." And then it's like, "Oh, girls want to send nudes. Word, this is a thing." But then in the midst of it, he's like, "Well, fuck, I'm getting."
He got on like I think he started doing that like right as that meme was like beginning to blow up. So he was like skyrocketing with it basically.
Yeah, it counted. He's like, I'm getting a few thousand followers a day. Shit, all right, they're looking at me. Now he goes through the drive-thru and cuts a fucking order and calls a pizza spot and cuts up his order, and it's just like
I low-key
yo,
had a hand in helping out.
that shit's dope. That shit's dope.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
and it's like if you go see him play, like he can actually rock. So that's dope. Like I appreciate people like that out here.
So bottom line, make sure you can
bring it
in real life
Yeah.
as hard as you can bring it on social
someone
media.
told me once, like, I was laying cuts on a song a few years back, the first time I had ever done it, and they're like, just the way you cut, the way you do it live, do it in studio. Don't do shit that you can't do. Don't try to copy paste any, like, don't do, like, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you could present that live. You're gonna do a recorded mix, make sure you can execute that style live, because if people are gonna like that, they're gonna expect that.
Unless you mistime that baby, then edit that baby.
Yeah, well, that baby, you could just move it. You can move it to the left or right slightly. Shout out to milliseconds and post-production and shit. But, if the cadence was right, you gotta roll with it.
Yeah, man.
That was a good,
real quick, anything you want to promote, Sam, while you're on?
Let's see. We just had our clip on Adult Swim's Off the Air. Just had its premiere run on Adult Swim this past week, so it's just gonna be part of the kind of mix.
Huge.
It'll be coming up as part of the Paradise episode at like 3 a.m. Central, whatever. So that's around. That's online or whatever. Super Deluxe. We've got. I might as well. Well, we're working on something that'll be out kind of next, or in January or something like that. We're kind of in production on that. I'm playing. I don't know. When's this coming out?
Probably next, like a week or two?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will have just played Day for Night Houston with Rabbit and House of Kenzo. We're doing motion capture, crazy shit. So booking more shows. Amsterdam, if anybody listens out in Amsterdam, I'll be playing Sonic Axe Festival and doing some
exciting
grad school stuff out there, and maybe play some shows in Berlin. Working on some other kind of AV kind of shit. Anyway, at sam.rolfus Instagram. Speaking of all the social media shit, but it just redirects back to my Instagram. So just
perfect.
Hit that up. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yo, we appreciate you coming on today, man.
Thank you, man.
You're our first official guest here on DJs Are Not Jukeboxes. Shout out to the universe. You know what I'm saying? Bringing you on and shit.
What an honor.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.